Hello IBK, this is my feedback to your summary from last week. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, can we try and use Google Docs? Because it takes me a very long, complicated process to download this and then share the link with you. So next time, just use Google Docs. Okay, so let's start. In the video, title, name of the professor. Okay, remember we said you want to use a more argumentative sort of verb, right? So something like argues that or claims that, right? Okay. The main differences and connection between invention and innovation. Okay. Now, if you said argues that, how would you finish the sentence? Professor Daniele Archibughi argues that, then you could say there are crucial differences between invention and innovation, something like that, or argues that it is important for us to understand the differences between invention and innovation. So you see, when you use an argumentative reporting verb, you're kind of forcing yourself to write an argumentative sentence, and that's what we need for the main idea. He defines invention. You don't need an article here because it's just a general kind of invention, not a particular one. So he defines invention as a new idea that has not yet been implemented. Sure. Okay. While, according to him, innovation is the transformation of an invention into a new product or process and its commercial and social exploitation. Sure. That is very well expressed. I'm not sure how much of that is your own phrasing and how much you got directly from the lecture, but this sentence is very clear and balanced and everything. So the structure is quite good here. It's a very well structured sentence. Okay. But try perhaps more to express things more in your own words. Moreover, the professor, sure, or just his name would be better here. You would need, if you say the professor, you would need an article. You can just say the speaker here, right? Just a professor without an article is very strange. The speaker, or the professor, or the lecturer, or just the name, the last name, highlights that all innovations are based on inventions, but not all inventions transformed into innovation. Sure. I understand what you're trying to say. It's quite clear. This use of the verb, you mean are transformed, or you have two choices. Either use the passive, which would be are transformed, or the active would be transform into, but it doesn't really sound very well in the active. So I would say use the passive, are transformed into innovation. Whereas diffusion is the final process. Yeah, okay, here I'm not sure. The sentence structure gets a little bit out of balance here. Whereas diffusion is the final process of innovation adoption. Yeah. I don't think you need that as a supporting idea. The real supporting idea is the difference between the two, right? All innovations started out, originated as an invention, but not all inventions become innovations. You could say that, something like that. And this, you don't need that. Because it's not a supporting idea, and just, he does say that, but it doesn't really add anything to the summary. and it does make the sentence a little bit imbalanced. Up to here the sentence is very well structured, right? So I think that's enough. At the same time, okay, good, that's a good use of a cohesive device. At the same time, he argues that, okay, very nice, that the main difference between invention and innovation is the commercialization of the product or service. Very nice, this is a really good sentence, this whole thing. Invention is not necessarily commercialized. Okay, but you said that. There's no need for this repetition. After this sentence, which explained everything so clearly, you don't really need to repeat the same idea again. So you don't need this repetition here, okay? For instance, artists and their art pieces, umbrellas for shoes, fan for noodles. Yeah, this is a sentence fragment. You need verbs here. There should be a subject, a verb, and usually an object in sentences. So this one is just a fragment. Now, apart from the fact that of the sentence structure, remember that in this summary we try to stay away from examples. Remember, no examples and no evidence. Stay away from those things. So actually, you don't even need that. Remember, we focus on the supporting ideas. On the other hand, innovation is a product or service that exists, right? That would be the third person. Exists on the commercial market. As an example, the speaker uses food mill. Yeah, again, here, these are examples, and we do not include those, right? We do not include examples in the summary, remember? Also, it is important to emphasize there could be no two. Sure, here you could use the speaker's name. So additionally, or also, the speaker, or Archie Boogie, explains that it is important to blah blah blah, right? Or just emphasizes. That would be a really good verb. Additionally, Archie Boogie emphasizes that there could be, okay, so speaker, the name of the speaker, or just the speaker, plus a reporting verb, and emphasizes would be a very good reporting verb to use here, that there could be no two identical innovations despite the time period. I'm not very sure what this means. Which innovation? Despite the time period of this innovation. This is a little bit unclear here. He was saying that an innovation is always unique, and there are no two innovations which are identical. So maybe you can say something like that. Here, this is a little bit unclear what's going on. Especially for somebody who has not seen the video. Yeah, you want to tidy this up, make it a little bit more clear. Just say that there are no two innovations are identical. Each innovation is unique. And he was talking about if there are two identical products, then one of them is a copy. It's not an innovation. To conclude, okay, good use of cohesive device. Daniele debates. Now, debates that doesn't really work as a reporting verb. There are reporting verbs which go very well with that clauses, but debates is not one of them. It just claims that the main difference between invention and innovation is the level of economic value. specifically the stage of commercialization. Sure. What did he really end with? His final thought was more about, he gave an example of the pen. Now, of course, you don't want to give an example in your summary, but what was the supporting idea that that example was used for? Basically, he was talking about how the pen was initially an invention and it seemed very insignificant. I mean, it's this little thing and nobody cared about it. But as soon as it became an innovation, it had this enormous impact on society. And he ended with the idea that this impact is unpredictable. So it's a kind of a paradoxical idea. A seemingly insignificant object, when it is an innovation, can become really impactful when it becomes an invention. So you can phrase it like that, the way, in your own words, of course. A seemingly insignificant object which starts out as an invention can potentially become an important innovation with enormous impact or something like that, right? And he was saying how that's unpredictable. You can never tell. Okay. Now, your concluding sentence is good enough. I'm just not sure, is the level of economic value specifically the stage of commercialization? I'm not very sure what this is saying actually. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but as a concluding idea, that seems more like a supporting idea. I'm not very sure. But overall, I would say this is a very decent paragraph, very good paragraph. Structured, well organized. Again, try to make the first sentence more argumentative. But you have included some really good cohesive devices, good reporting verbs, and yeah, it's very good writing. So congratulations, IBK, keep up the good work, and I hope this was helpful to you.